better daily, where we work hard in our minds, bodies, and our spirits to become 1% better every single day. Download the app and join our Betterment family at betterdaily.live to catch the video version of these podcasts. Here's your host and my dad, Alex Van Houten.
What is up, Betterment family? This is Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Live. Happy Thursday. Today is Word Thursday, and I think it's my favorite day of the week because Word Thursday is an opportunity to share some meditations with you on a word, and hopefully that helps you in your 1% better journey. I know that I enjoy talking through these words, and many of you have reached out to me and said that these are the most valuable lives that I do. So thank you very much for your feedback on that front. The word today is value. Good morning, Robin. Good to see you, man. The word value is such an interesting word. If you go all the way back to about 1000 AD or so, the Latin converts to the French, and the original meaning of value was to be strong and useful. Strong and useful. And as the word has evolved over time, especially with the evolution of the technology of currency, we have come to understand value to be a price or estimable worth. Price or estimable worth. Now, the word value is a very interesting question or a very interesting word to me because we use it in a lot of different contexts. It tends to bring the connotation of money, which we'll talk about in a second, but it also has a different quality. And so you can think about this like answering this question. What do you value? What do you value? What do you hold in high esteem? What do you see as useful or of estimable worth in your life? And not only is that an interesting question worth asking yourself, but also the corollary, and that is this: do you really value what you say you value? Or another way to ask that question is, are your actions reflecting what you value? See, because there's this idea that we can say something, we can make a declaration of belief. However, the question is, do our actions carry out the beliefs we say we hold? This is what Jesus was talking about in the New Testament when he says to those listening to the Sermon on the Mount, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. In fact, I just finished a study going through the parables of the Gospels, and we were looking at Jesus' story through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and trying to understand both his teachings better and the man better by looking through the lens of his parables. And what's interesting is if you read the Gospel of Luke, Jesus seems really down on the idea of money. He makes several statements that in particular sound like he doesn't like rich people very much. It's actually in the Gospel of Luke where he says that it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven, right? So it sounds like, oh, if you're rich, it's going to be really rough on you to follow these teachings, right? And he also mentions in the gospel as well that, the woman who makes the offering at the temple where she drops 2 mites in, which was, 2 very small units of money. He says, look at all these people with all their riches and they're giving at the temple, but I tell you that she's given the most because she's given out of her poverty, which, 2 mites to her was a lot more value than for somebody who has a whole lot and gives a little, right? She's given a lot more value, and God smiles on her offering here more than, the high-priced stuff that everybody else has given. And so it sounds like he's really down on the idea of money. But then there's this really weird parable. And the parable is the parable of the pounds in Luke, and then there's this parable of the talents in Matthew. They're both derivations of the same teaching. And basically what happens is in Jesus' story, he's describing the situation by which people are given something, and then the faithful, those who God's happy about, those that Jesus seems to be telling people to aspire to, they're the ones who take that thing and they spend it well such that they're able to accumulate a profit. So this, you might think of it in terms of your body. You were given this body, right? If you sit on the couch all day today and do nothing, You don't do anything productive. You don't exercise. You don't eat well. You just sit. You don't have good conversations with family and friends. You don't make plans for the future. You just chill out. You exist, right? So you were given this gift of 24 hours today. You were given this gift of a body. You were given the gift of breathing. Whether or not you're in pain or whether or not there's difficulty or whether or not there's obstacles to doing something productive is altogether irrelevant. You were given this thing, right? The question is, what do you do with that? In this parable, Jesus explains that profit is a good thing, that it's good to spend the money in such a way that it accumulates more money. And so the question is the teaching in that particular area of the gospel, is it that accumulating money is a problem? Yes or no? And the answer is in the definition of value. You see, what happens is when we value what God values, and we act in such a way as to reflect those values, when our actions reflect the things that we value, then no, profit's not a bad thing at all, because it's just good. It's just measured in goodness. And so, I know I'm speaking esoterically here, but picture this with me, okay? You say you value health. What is one of the things that you value? I value health. I want to be healthy. I want to keep up with my kids and my grandkids. I want to experience as little suffering as possible. I want to make the best use of the body that God gave me. I value health. Great. Does your daily nutrition and exercise and rest habits, do those things reflect that you value health? Yes or no? And for the majority of the people that I work with from a coaching perspective, many of those individuals find that when they start pointing their attention toward their actions, when they start keeping a food journal, when they start noticing how often or not they exercise, when they start noticing how often or not they go to bed at a good time and rest well, when they start noticing whether or not they're drinking enough water or consuming supplements that they know would be helpful to them, or eating enough veggies and protein, when they start pointing their attention to where their treasure is, they find that they don't really value health as much as they say they do. There are other things that from a value perspective are higher on the priority list than their health. And maybe that's fine. There are seasons in life where your health needs to come secondary. I have a good friend of mine and client. He has done an amazing job over the past 6 months training and staying very consistent with his exercise program, staying consistent with his nutrition, and his body's reflecting that. He's seeing amazing changes. He's dropped some weight. He's doing things he never thought he could do before, and he's doing this in his 60s. It's amazing to watch. He's setting a powerful example for his young sons. I say young, they're basically adults, but still it's awesome that they're getting to see this transformation happen in their dad. Well, recently he lost a family member, and that's been really hard. And he's like, I hate that I haven't been able to be as consistent in my program. And I'm like, dude, you have put your actions where you value most. Your family needs you right now. Your family needs you to show up. And what's crazy is he's actually been able to maintain some of the changes that he's made, as in he continues to lift pretty regularly. He's missed a few cardio sessions. And of the things that he values right now, his own health is a little lower on the rungs. Why? Well, because something in the immediate requires more attention from him. And it's probably good. It's probably good that, family and whatnot overrides that. And we just had this conversation yesterday that he has valued his health for the past 6 months. And it's been awesome to be able to show up energetically, ready to handle the depression and the grief, ready to show up well with high responsibility for his family, to get all the affairs in order and stuff, since this was an unexpected loss, right? And so his value of health allowed him to value his family really well. And what's going to happen is, while all these loose ends are being tied up and the grief process is going forward, he is going to be able to value his health again above those other things. But right now, that priority is higher. I have a similar story with a client of mine who has been working really, really hard on her health and fitness, has been doing a good job, but over the past few weeks, her kids have been really sick. And passing around a cold and stomach bug. And it's hard when you have young kids and they're sick and they get you sick, right? So her health, her pursuit of better for her life had to take a back seat, right? But here's where things get difficult for individuals. When your betterment takes a back seat, when you begin to value things over becoming 1% better daily, it's fine for a season. But if you get in the habit of it, what's going to happen is one day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize that what you value, what you say you believe, what you want for yourself and your family, what you want for the future, your actions aren't reflecting that. You have gotten into habits that are hurting you and are actually counter to what you really value. You're working at counter purposes to yourself. Remember, Jesus said, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I invite you at the beginning of 2022 to get your values straight, to join us in the Faithful 40 Challenge, to point your attention toward what it is that you're doing on a daily basis that is either reflecting your values or actively destroying them, actively tearing down your health, actively tearing down your legacy. I don't want that for you. And I want you to be able to say, yes, I'm acting in accordance with my values daily. I feel good about how I spend my time and energy. If Jesus were to say to me, hey, where your treasure is, where your money, where your energy, where your time, where your treasure is, there your heart is also. And I could say, yes, Lord, that's exactly what I'm spending my time and energy on. And I'm very happy that that's what I'm up to. I challenge you to that. And I want you to join us in the Faithful 40 Challenge. Guys, this has been Alex Van Houten in Better Daily Live. Thank you for joining me on Meditations on the Word Value. Tomorrow is Flex Friday, and you can call me Coach because we're going to go through something exercise-wise that's going to help you on your 1% better journey. Until then, it's just 1%. You got this.
Thank you for joining us for 1% Better today. Don't forget to subscribe for the podcast. Leave us a raving review to tell others how Better Daily has helped you in your journey. If you want more Better Daily, download our app and join our Betterment family at betterdaily.live. Use code POD to get 25% off your subscription. That's POD, all caps, to save 25% on your subscription. We all have a cross to carry. It's lighter when we do it together. Go to betterdaily.live today.